do a bit of a session around the get to know your potential president. But before I hand over to our MC, Annabelle Sweetman, who is the Tusa Comms Engagement Manager, I just thought we'd take a moment to do an acknowledgement of country. We pay our respects to elders past and present, to the many Aboriginal people that did not make elder status, and to the Tasmanian Aboriginal community who continue to care for country. We recognise the history of truth, which acknowledges the impact of invasion and colonisation upon Aboriginal people, resulting in the genocide and forcible removal from their land. Our islands are deeply unique, with spectacular landscapes, with our cities and towns surrounded by bushland, wilderness, mountain ranges and beaches. We stand for a future that profoundly respects and acknowledges Aboriginal perspectives, culture, language and history, and a continued effort to fight for Aboriginal justice and rights, paving the way for a strong future. Right, so again, welcome to all. Tonight is a really exciting event that we have. We've got a whole lot of people on Zoom watching you all, and a whole lot of people in this room. So thanks for those people that came along to support the candidates, and thanks to you all for nominating. It's a really exciting election this year. We've got 13 nominees in all for 8 positions, several roles of which we have multiple nominations for, which is, again, really exciting for us in terms of the response from the nominees, and we hope that will mirror and be amplified by the number of people who actually get involved in the voting capacity this year. So without further ado, I might just hand over to Annabelle, who's our MC for the night, and she can start asking me some questions. Please.
Great, well thanks everyone, thanks for coming, and to our fabulous panel, thanks for being here tonight, and we've got some on Zoom who will appear as soon as they ask questions, as soon as they speak. But look, this is a great occasion, it's super exciting for 2022 candidates, and we wish you all the best. And tonight is about having a little bit of fun, getting to know you, getting to know some of your ideas, and to putting your best foot forward. So when we were thinking about having this panel style event, we thought, how could we mix something fun like have you been paying attention mixed with you can't ask that. And then I thought, well, I'm no Kitty Flanagan and there's no Ed Cavalier in the room, and you can't ask that can just be, we know that can go to places where we don't need to. So we'll keep things by the line, and we'll try and have a little bit of fun, and then just allow you to answer some of the questions. So without further ado, it might be a little tricky this first bit. We're just doing a bit of a pop quiz, but Michelle will be looking for hands up on the screen to see who gets their hand up first. We don't have any buzzers, unfortunately. Feel free to make an animal noise if you'd like to. But here we go. This will be just a little bit of an icebreaker. So, everyone ready? Name 2 Tusa values. Loka. Yes.
Connected and fun.
Nice. Thank you very much. State 1 of the 5 Tusa student promises.
We'll work with you, make a difference.
Nice. Excellent. Name the 4 communities at UTAS. Go Veda.
Devils, dragons, tigers, and
No. Yeah, we'll pay that. What is the name of the new Cradle Coast campus?
Is it West Park?
Correct, it is West Park. Name 2 food outlets on any UTAS campus. If you could.
Lazenby's and Trade Table Cafe.
No, the second one. Does anyone know?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Pay that. Great. Name 2 of the student accommodation premises across the state. Good on you. What got that one? Well done. How about the founding of the university? What year?
I'm not really sure, but 1889.
Oh, so close. Any others?
1890.
Well done. Yes. Where is the Where is the Launceston campus situated?
Newhampton.
We might have taken a point off for that. And lastly, can anyone name 2 support services that the TUSA offers to students? Cuckoo again?
Student advocacy,
Yes,
financial support.
correct? Yeah, yeah, that's great. All right, well done. So, tick off the important side of things. I'm going to bring up a stool. We're getting serious here. So we do have some candidates online. So what I thought I'd do is just give everyone a little bit of a introduction, and then from there we'll start to ask some questions. So tonight we have, or this year we have 2 presidential candidates. We have Afruz. Afruz wants to play an active role in creating a positive university experience for everyone and support students when uni life gets tough. Sophie aims to help bring student life back on campus and ensure students are at the heart of decision making for the move into Hobart CBD and in Breast campus. Then we have 2 equity president candidates. We have Veda. Veda says the importance of supporting and improving equity services is not lost on her. She wants to encourage students that identify as part of an equity group to feel more comfortable getting involved in UTAD life. And we have Cuckoo, who has a strong drive to foster greater diversity and inclusion and is eager to address student issues concerning equity at UTAD. We have a number of postgrad candidates. Firstly, we have Mary, who's online. You'll see Mary's face shortly. Mary is passionate about bringing all the postgrad students together as a whole community where they can enjoy and connect themselves with the other postgrad students, regardless of age, gender, race or culture. Then we have Ari. Ari is passionate about strengthening the postgrad community across all faculties and is eager to represent the interests of all postgrad students within the Academic Senate, Research Committee and other university bodies. Then we are unable to have Gitu here online with us. She's not well, unfortunately, but she is a PhD student in the Faculty of Education. She believes in campus unity and providing everyone a fair chance to speak their mind, regardless of gender, country, religion or belief. We have 3 candidates for Southern Campus President. We have Lavanya here. Lavanya is eager to bring communities together whilst ensuring that the university is a safe space for students to voice concerns and work together with a diverse range of cohorts to make this possible. Then we have Aloka. And Aloka is eager to create a better university experience for students and in developing an improved events management system to ease event organisation processes for clubs and societies. And Liam. Liam is eager to make sure that leaders and members of clubs and societies are heard and recognised and will strive to support establishing groups. We also have Meow, who's online. Meow believes change is required to ensure that all students have access to the clubs where they can mingle and socialise with like-minded people, including online and offshore students. Then we have Pat, who's also online. He's the only candidate for Student Experience President Northwest. Pat would like to be a friendly face for students to come to for help when needed or just to have a chat, and he'd also like to encourage the creation of more clubs and societies. And lastly, but not least, up in Sydney we have Amy. And based in Sydney, Amy, more than most of us, know how difficult the transition from face-to-face learning to online learning has been. She wants to be able to help students in Sydney navigate these challenges. So welcome to those online and again to everyone for coming today. So what we're going to do is ask each panel member a question.
So I just want to change the screen so that we can see the panel members.
Thank you. We'll hang fire.
Yes.
Maybe I'll ask a question of one of the panel here and then we'll go to Meow on the, that'd be great. So this is random with all the candidates have seen these questions this afternoon, but none of them know which question they're getting. So we are going to start with you, Liam. So Liam, where do you feel student voice is most lacking and how would you seek to rectify it?
Yeah, so I've been a member, was president of John Fisher College this year, so I know that accommodation services have struggled with getting their voice heard, especially when we're trying to transition between Sandy Bay and as we move into the city. So I really think that their voices really need to be recognised, especially working with TUSA, working with the student living accommodation, and working with the committees, which is really important. I also feel with the clubs and societies, making sure that as we do move into the city, that even though we are spread across those different buildings, that we can still be unified and work together with all the faculties like Engineering Laneway, really successful event, the cocktail nights. I think it's a really great way to get involved, making sure that even though as an IMAS student that I'm still able to talk to someone from the Engineering Society or have a chat with someone just studying philosophy and that sort of thing, being able to bring everyone together. And to rectify that, I think the transparency, making sure that there's easy communication between the committees, for example, with TUSA to be able to say, hey, we're struggling in this aspect, I think we should work in this sort of way to improve that, and being able to work with them, talk about it with all the respective parties, see where everyone's sort of sitting in a certain position and then find a compromise. And then if not, being able to talk with someone, get some help, and then being able to make sure that everyone is accepted, understands what's required, and being able to make sure that everyone feels really happy and accepted on campus.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you. I think, as you say, more than ever now that there's this transition period happening, and there you feel like there's a bit of lack of unity around. And for you living on campus and having those insights around accommodation is really important. So thank you.
Alright, so I've worked it out, but they're quite tiny.
I can still see you.
Okay, yeah, fingers crossed.
Great. And Meow, I know that you have to scoot off soon, so we might ask you the next question. So,
Yes.
Meow, yes, you can hear us? Great, we can hear you. Thank you. So, Meow, do you feel the values and priorities you would bring to this role align with those of the general student population and the TUSA?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know like there are so many students currently studying online, maybe because of the lockdowns or some travel restrictions that are heavy. But I guess like this is actually applicable to all the students to have that online study information and online activity. So I guess like to help students with their online study, it's really critical for like students on campus, studying on campus or off campus. That's my point of view. I like to hear like insights from other people. I know we have really quick questions.
Thank you, Meow. It's always challenging being on the screen, so we really appreciate you articulating that. I have to say we missed a few words, but we certainly got the gist, and seems that you're really passionate about engagement, as am I. So whatever we can do to help students understand what we have to offer at the TUSA and for the general university experience is great. So thank you. Appreciate that. And if you need to scoot off, we totally understand. But thanks for joining us. So I think I'll throw this to you, Ari. Okay. Should you be successful, you will have the opportunity to shape the future of students at UTAS. How do you see that you will personally innovate, grow, and become a community leader?
So I think for me this comes down to challenge. I think how does anyone grow without challenge, and pushing through to find solutions. Like win-win is such a business buzzword, but I think ultimately that would be the goal, to sort of represent the student body, but also work with the university to actually overcome these challenges, to find innovative solutions to the things that students deal with. And I think a big part of this as well, the question is sort of directed at me, like how will I develop as well? But I think a big part of that is what will actually come to me and what will I encounter as I go out into the community and actually aim to accurately represent the community, I suppose. So I think through that process, it's sort of difficult to say right now, sitting here prior to actually starting, but I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's something that I really thrive off of, is being presented with problems that I can then find solutions to. Yeah, I think the challenge is part of the process.
Yeah.
Something
And I
I'm
guess
looking
that-
forward to.
Right, yeah, and I get that natural growth of working with the student rep council and working in an organisation where, you know, we really want student development to be open to everyone, and that you know, as you say, the growth might just come down the track, but I guess for us, having an active student rep council is that win-win, you know?
Yes.
We can help in some capacity, and then we get to see from a student's perspective.
Yeah, so it's sort of like I can help, and then also they will help me
Yeah,
to grow and
yeah,
develop as
that's
well,
right.
and develop as a leader. So
Yeah.
yeah, it works both ways.
Great, thank you. Amy, this might be a good one for you, if you can hear us.
Yes. Can you hear me okay? Just want to check.
Yes, yes, you.
Okay. You gotta let me know if I crack up and I'll repeat.
Crack up laughing or just?
Oh.
So, Amy, given the spread of UTAS students across the state and in Sydney, both online and on campus, how do you see best students connecting and engaging with their peers and the uni, particularly during COVID times?
Well, I can't really speak on behalf of you guys over there because I'm from Sydney, and as you all know, it's a bit of mayhem over here. And we've currently been online for a long time. So I know a lot of students have struggled, like keeping up with the workflow. And since I do paramedic practice, there's a lot of critical like skills that we need, like practical skills. And I know a lot of people found that very difficult to learn like online through just videos or Zoom. So I think it's really important that when we go back to uni, that we used to have these like open pracs or just open resources available to students. And I think that's an excellent idea to like continue doing, because I know how important that was, because you only get 2-hour blocks to practice skills. And if that doesn't work for you, then you can't do anything else. So I think that these are really good ways that we can implement creating better environments for people to feel like they know more, especially since there's been a lot of talks around the students. And obviously I can't talk on behalf of them, but I'd like to be able to talk for them. But like they've been struggling to like keep everything in. They feel like each week is just on and on. But I think it'd be really great since we go back to have those support services, as well as having like extra resources available, whether that be like tutors, have pop-up classes, or just like group organizations once we're all double vaxxed. Because like I know a lot of people have missed the interactions between their fellow peers. We had one semester and then just completely moved online. So it's been really difficult to make those friendships, which I think is such an important part of university. And considering that I just came from high school and then was online there and now going into university and back online, it's a bit of a pickle. But I think like seriously, we just gotta try our best, have those really good relationships with each other and try to build them between tutors so that they know what they can do for us, and that we can also provide feedback to them directly or anonymously to let them know what we want and how we can change that.
Thanks, Amy. And I think you bring a really interesting perspective, obviously coming from Sydney, and also, as you say, just coming from high school where you had to do it online, and now you're doing online in a very practical course, and how that is such a challenge in itself. And as it sounds like we're moving to more and more online, we really need to be able to be agile around how to help students around that. So thank you. That's really great insight. Where have we gone? Bruce. My question to you is, what will you bring to the role, incorporating student voice, inclusion, development opportunities, and having fun?
I would say incorporating student voice and inclusivity. One of my ideas that I include in my statement, and something I'm going to strive for, whether I did it okay, is engaging students in activism, and to ask them what matters the most to them. What is they going after? What do they want? If there's a funding, some budget, what do they want? What do they want us to spend that money on? So yeah, I'm going to seek their aspirations and try to with the help of everyone and the
time where, activism we're seeing it more and more in a whole different range of guises across the country and the world. It's an interesting, one to bring to the team and to student life at the moment. So.
True. Many times we underestimate our power, but sometimes one very small move can make a very big difference.
Yes, yeah, so true. Thank you. Sophie, I'm going to go with you for the next one. How do you see that universities can better adopt inclusivity across all campuses?
Yep. So I've probably got a bit of bias in this area, so I'm the
Okay, well let's change the question.
So I'm the equity president at TUSA at the moment, so I'm really, really passionate about inclusivity. I think too often in the university, it's really easy for people's voices to be drowned out, and when we're one of over 30,000 students, it's really, really easy to feel like you are the only person who's having your experience and your problems. When the reality is that while we're all individuals and we're all having our own experience, we have a lot of shared experience. So I think moving toward inclusivity, developing better student-led voice, I think is a massive part. Too often we have people speaking on behalf of other groups that they don't belong, and something that I've tried to make really clear this year is that although I'm not part of all of the equity groups, I have tried to at least go out to those groups and talk to them to make sure that I'm not putting my words in their mouth. They're actually, I'm giving them an opportunity to step up and be able to tell me their thoughts so I can help the university understand that. So I think having more clubs and societies, at the moment we've got like the Pride Society and the Women's Society, but giving them an opportunity to really boost their membership and let people see that you can experience other people's cultures, you can see what it's like for someone else. And I think that's one of the best parts of being at uni, is being able to meet new people and widen your perspectives, because when we're all at home on Zoom, you don't get to talk to other people, you don't get to widen your perspective. And so I think one of the most important things about uni is being able to get out, meet new people, and really challenge yourself, like Ari was saying. Yeah.
Thanks, Sophie. And that was a flick that I just happened to ask you that one. Sorry. But I think that, they're all very important points, and I think we'll hear a sort of similar theme across all responses, because it's, being a, sort of older ex-student, it's interesting for me to reflect on where I was at university back in the 90s, and how it's just prevalent now that people really want inclusivity, acceptance, all of those things to just be across the board and to bring that student voice to the fore.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Thank you, Sophie. Pat, we might go with you online. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, and we can hear you. So, why is it the student's responsibility to come to you? Tell us.
Honestly, I was a little bit confused by the question, but I felt like that if it's their responsibility to come to me, because I'd like to be able to be the person that can direct them to what they're looking for, whether it's somebody to talk to, or if they're having any difficulties with the university itself, or anything else in their life, I'd be able to help them with that. I feel like
help you with that, Pat, as well, was that one of the things I really liked in your bio was that you said you want to be able to help people, help students have a positive experience like people have helped you on the Cradle Coast campus. That really sort of resonated with me. So I guess
that's more or less how I felt. Like I started back at uni in my early 30s, so I'm a little bit older than a lot of people who start uni, and I thought it was going to be quite difficult to transition into it. But everybody that's been at the uni, including Kathy and a few others that are involved in TUSA or have been in the past, were always very welcoming and introduced me to new people, and made the transition to uni quite easy, especially with the way things were in the beginning, when I only had about 4 weeks of on-campus uni before it went on to online for a while. So it definitely made life a lot easier, and I'd like to be that person to help the next lot of people coming through, so they can feel the same way.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Pat. You in the sense that, having that openness will really invite students to be able to come, and you can then be able to, direct them in the right way for any advocacy services and those kinds of things. But when you've had a positive experience like that, it really helps to be able to relate to other students. So thank you. Cuckoo, how do you think we can better engage students post-COVID?
So what I understand is in the post-COVID scenario, what students, during COVID, what students have to go through is an online-based education system, and that basically stops students back to their computers and make them feel comfortable doing work from home and stuff like that. I believe that we have to get them out of that shell and expose them to the broader university community. And I believe based on my experiences as working as a student researcher at TUSA, a volunteer at the Tasmanian Refugee Legal Service, an international student ambassador at the Hobart City Council, what I've understood is that we have to reach out to students and give students the opportunity to actually interact with each other, and thereby they will come out of that shell, and then they will properly interact with other students and give them that sense of complete and whole university experience, I believe. And for this, I believe we can use various events and activities like, maybe parties and study sessions and stuff like that. I don't know about Sydney, but in Hobart at least, after the initial wave that happened in Hobart, coming out of it, what I saw was that the campus actually did have a lot of events in an attempt to actually foster more engagement within students. However, I feel like because of that sudden shock of COVID, we still haven't gotten to the position where we were before. And I believe that is where me as an individual, that is where I believe TUSA can help. And specifically, when we're talking about the position that I nominated myself to, the equity president, I believe that there are more than enough clubs and societies within TUSA representing these equity groups. There's the Pride Society, there is the Women's Society, and you have different international student associations. You have these societies. The problem is there's a lack of awareness of people about these societies that in turn creates a gap and does not promote student engagement. So what I believe is that we should improve this awareness of students, and as the body, TUSA being the body that is in charge of all of these clubs and societies, I think over 130 clubs and societies, we have the responsibility and the capability, the resources to promote awareness for students and create this engagement, foster this engagement, and give students a better and enriching university experience whereby they will be able to, which can be a stepping stone for their futures.
You could sit in my job. Engagement is my thing, so fly the flag. Thank you, Cuckoo. That's great. Alorka, what are issues pertaining to your nominated role that you think are the most important?
So nominated myself for the Southern Campus President, and I believe, especially coming after COVID, there's so many issues pertaining to engagement, just getting students to come on campus and actually experience the university life. I think that's something that that's been so difficult, and as activities director of schools, I see how difficult it has been to just get students to come. And they're not it's not that the event is an idea that isn't something that is appealing to students, but rather actually knocking that shell and telling, you need to come out now, there's more to this. Because I only had 2 weeks on campus, and then it was completely online. And even now, sometimes I prefer online lectures because of the flexibility. But I think it's important to remember that that there's more to campus life than academic. So I think a great issue that we face is engagement. And when we first came back on campus at the beginning of this year, we saw a great decrease with engagement among clubs and societies and with students showing up for events, which was sad because we had events that were run as a tradition, and then people don't show up, which is very surprising.
I mean, it's good. We're seeing that trend changing. We're seeing people coming on campus. But I think one of the main issues is engagement. And then another issue that pertains to the role, and probably a continuing issue, would be the support that we provide clubs and society. Right now, I'm working with TUSA to improve these processes. And while people might think that financial support is the main thing that's stopping clubs and societies, it's actually interesting to know that it's promotion, it's just event management. Because big clubs like Tubes and Tubs, they've been doing it over years and they know what they're doing. And sometimes we forget to look at the smaller clubs and societies that are growing. Like it could just be the Women's Society, the Pride Society. They need to come up too. We can't just keep focusing on the big clubs that have already been established. And these clubs need the support to come up. And it's interesting how we have so many clubs and societies. But if I ask anyone in this room, I don't think they can name more than 15 clubs with 130 people. So I think another issue that I would have to address would be the support that we give clubs and societies and empowering them. So I think one of the two issues that I have addressed and that I look forward to addressing is reviving campus life and empowering clubs.
Thanks, Aloka. That's great. We've been having conversations even today amongst our team around innovative ideas that we can do in terms of bringing clubs and societies together and TUSA events and so forth. It's definitely an important one. And maybe next year I'll add that question, name 15 clubs and societies. But no, you bring up some really interesting points, and awareness and engagement again is another common theme and one that we're really working hard at, and that we will rely on the SRC to help with, because it's probably a role that we all need to play. And I think people are still challenged by the nervousness around COVID and coming out, and hopefully together we can all help revive campus life. Thank you. And I think Lavanya, we are I haven't asked Mary anything yet, right? We'll go with you, Lavanya. How do you propose you will assist students in raising their voices?
So I think I'll start off with me, but again, I'm also part of this TUSA student research project. And what we're doing here is basically that we're trying to give our students a voice, our clubs and societies a voice, and bringing out what they're facing currently. And I'm working on the collaboration side of it, and I'm looking at looking at the issues that they're facing, what kind of solution they would like to see, and potentially implementing a plan to make that process easier. So basically, talking to students, these student research projects really help us get to students more and hear their voices better. Getting to students directly rather than kind of sending them surveys. I think our Do Not Fear TUSA is Here project was pretty successful because we were on campus, we were there, we were showing students what we give, this is what we give, these are the opportunities that we have, these are our student projects. This is how we can interact with TUSA, and we're being there, we are actually being there, and letting our students voice their concerns. So, so getting that being with the students and basically especially with the move to a city, and post-COVID era coming here, so students know what opportunities they have and help them get engaged there. There are students coming to campus right now, which is great to see, and I see a lot more people at Morrisville than I saw a few months ago, which is really great. So I think what we can do is to actually station ourselves there, something like that. So being there and maybe put our web tent and let people come to us. I think the web tent that was there last year was things like bringing that online thing on campus and letting students know that we are here for you. You can voice your concerns, you can tell us what you need from us. So I'm really tying that to our TUSA value of giving the students what they need to see from their university. So
thanks Lavanya. And I think hearing student to student is so important. Hence the student-led part of our value of the TUSA is crucial. But thank you, that's great, super insightful. And Mary, can you hear us online, Mary?
Yeah, I can hear you. If you can hear me, I don't know what happened with my camera.
That's okay. We can definitely hear you. Lovely to have you with us. Can I ask you? Can you name a project that you would look to run should you be successful?
Sorry, which project?
Or if there was one that you would like to run if you were successful in the role, have you got a project in mind? Or one that's
I'm just thinking like on a broader perspective. I don't specifically go for any project. I'm just thinking how to connect and how to develop a vibrant community as a family of the students within the community or within the campus, because I am living by myself without my family, and I'm noticing how hard it is to live without your family, especially during COVID. So I was thinking it's a good opportunity and a good platform where I can just connect with the students and I can explore their problems, their issues. And I just highlighted those problems and ideas to the upper management and see how we can go further with the students. And I think for the projects, if particularly if I talk about the research perspective, because I'm a PhD student, so there are so many projects, especially for the research funds or research training or data collection. There are so many things we can do or we can work with the TUSA, and that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's great, Mary, and thanks for sharing a bit of your situation. Certainly, imagine that engagement and connection when you don't have your family close by is a big one. So
yeah, that's the main reason. I just wanted to like part as a, or maybe just develop a students as a family, so I can just make a community within the campus where students can be open and where students can just discuss their problems and discuss whatever they need with me openly without any like judgment or without any other kind of stuff.
yeah, that's great, Mary. Thank you, and I'm sure
Thank
you're
you.
not alone in that situation. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, we appreciate you sharing your story. So that's a question each. Thank you. Sorry, madam. Sorry. I thought you answered some of the questions before. Thank God. So, how would you? One of the hardest questions. How would you address disagreements with constituents or community members?
Well, first of all, I think depending on who it was, so if it was constituents such as like students, I would try to make sure that I understood the problem and there was transparency between me and whoever was involved, and try to keep it between whoever was like involved in that as well, and resolve it. Maybe have a sit down, talk to them about it. But if it was maybe a issue with someone in the committee or something, I'd try to go to someone like one of the staff, such as you or someone, and try and maybe organise like a sit down meeting about it. Yeah, I actually think that was one of the easier questions. Yeah, seems pretty straightforward.
Well, it does, and I guess we threw it in there because there will be times, for whoever successful in the role where you can confront these things, and I guess they're challenging, but they help us learn and grow, and there are staff on at the TUSA that can assist with those things. But I think they're part of developing, aren't they?
Yeah, because problems will happen.
Yeah, that's right. And certainly for the role you're in, there might be plenty of challenging issues that come up. So thank you. I'm sorry I didn't think to. So thank you, everyone. I don't know where we're at for time. Can I have a bit of a time check? Okay, so we've got a quick powwow with the two presidential candidates. So if we could ask everyone else, give them a round of applause. Leave 2 you up here. Great. Yeah, we'd love everyone to stick around if you can. So either take your seat or just one up the back. As Sam mentioned, you know, one of these two will likely be your leader for the tutor. So again, these two have received the questions that we put together, and these questions were pulled together by a range of staff and student reps from the tutor, so felt they were pertinent to be asking today. So given we don't have a lot of time, I'm going to ask you both a different question, and then if we've got time, we may go back and just hear your opinion on the other one. So, Afruz, we will start with you. So what, in your opinion, is the greatest issue facing university students in 2022, and how do you propose you can make an impact?
I believe mental health issues and mental health struggles is going to be a big problem for students and how it's coping and adapting to our new world, because experiencing pandemic and those who are always new and still continue to be experiencing the challenges was one thing, but still when they always don't open up and people are going to still face another shock of coming to the world, working face to face on it. So I guess depression and anxiety is probably going to go up. Thinking of how we can tackle that. We may adopt some micromanaging strategies, things like holding yoga classes, mindfulness sessions for students. I don't know, I was thinking about maybe therapies, if not face to face, by Zoom, not just on phone. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah. You know, the challenge that I was thinking about climate change as well. So I think that's one of my other concerns, but that's going to affect everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it's at the forefront of the majority of students' minds as well.
Right.
So, yeah. Thank you. Sophie, of the 5 choose values, which one do you resonate with most and why?
I actually quite struggled thinking about this question. But for me, it's probably student-led, I think. And not just because I'm a student like myself, but I think it's student-led to me speaks more about the collective voice of everybody. It shouldn't be about the person, it shouldn't be about who's on state council really in the end. The people who are on state council are great because they help facilitate that, but it shouldn't matter who's there in the end, because really what we're talking about is the voice of everybody and having that opportunity to reach out and speak to all of the students and have their voices represented at all levels of the university. And I've been involved in student leadership for quite a while now. I've been all through high school, and then I was president of John Fisher College as well, William's current role. And I've been really, really lucky to be involved in different student leadership roles with TUSA for the last couple of years. But I think student-led is what the organisation is all about, and it's what the university experience should be, because in the end, the university is nothing without the students, so we should be at the forefront of all of it.
Okay. Great, thank you. I think we'll actually switch both those questions, because they're both be good to hear from both of you on those ones. So I'm going to ask you the same question, Afruz. Of the 5 choose values, which one do you resonate with most and why? Would you like me to run them again? Bold, effective, kind, healthy, and connected.
So I kind of resonate with inclusivity and connectedness the most. Because the student community is we've got great diversity. But also what we're trying to do is to respect the diversity in all aspects of the university life. So being a minority, that's something I resonate with.
Yeah. It's good to look at connected and inclusivity at the same time.
I know.
Yeah.
I see there are big similarities in the two.
Yeah.
In my mind, but in the same category.
Thank you. So Sophie, what in your opinion is the greatest issue facing university students in 2022 and how do you propose to
I think pretty much all of the impacts of the pandemic. So I really like that you mentioned mental health because I think that's a huge area. But I think for me, it's probably online learning really, because we all know that the transition to online learning was really, really difficult when it first happened. And then like a few people mentioned today, people got comfortable with it and then it became a bit scary leaving. But we're reaching sort of a point with the university now where they're talking about the movement to the city, they're talking about facilities and things that we'll need. And there seems to be this real trend towards keeping everything online and making our lectures and our tutorials stay as Zoom classes and not having that face-to-face impact anymore. At least from conversations that I've had so far, and something that if I was successful in being elected, I'd want to talk to more people about, was actually seeing, do they want to be online? Because I know that it's so much harder to engage with your peers, that affects your mental health, and you don't get as much out of your university experience. So I think students are going to get louder and louder about that over the next few years, as we don't know if we're going to be going into another lockdown. So we want to make sure that if we've got the opportunity to see each other in person, it's something I feel really passionately about, making sure that we're bringing engagement back on campus, whether that be lectures or just tutorials or both, but at least giving people an opportunity to learn in person, because that's how we learn best.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I could quickly add something as well, but also a bit of a caveat to that is making sure that we're keeping everything really flexible, because we've still got so many students who are stuck overseas. We've still got so many students who are in Sydney or in Melbourne and they're in lockdown. We wouldn't want to put them in a position where they're having worse educational outcomes than us purely because we're lucky enough to be in a place without COVID at the moment. I would want to make sure that we're balancing, giving people the opportunity to be back in person if it's safe, but also making sure that you're able to keep doing your study if you have to do it online.
Yeah. Let's hope in 2022 has some more clarity around it. Yeah. So lastly, I think this is probably a good one to end on. I'll ask you both, but Bruce, I'll start with you. What do you think it means to be a true leader?
Question. I think a true leader is their hand dirty and lead by example. Also, true leader would let the people lead, let the members micromanage their leading, delegate tasks. It's not their way or the highway.
For me, leadership has always been about empowering other people around me to be able to do everything for themselves. I don't think leadership is a situation where you have to take everything on board yourself, fix everyone's problems for them, carry them along with you. Instead, I hope to, I think that leadership is more where you're giving other people skills and you're giving them the capabilities where they feel really comfortable in themselves, walking by themselves, and it's always great to have community support. But for me, leadership is about the service of others and making sure that we're reaching a point where they can go off. And I guess the ideal scenario for me is that I can lead by helping someone grow in themselves, and then that person will then be able to go forward and do the same thing to others. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both, and thanks for being so willing to participate in a conversation that's as intimate as this. I'm sure everyone will agree, and we'll put our hands together. I think we'll keep it to that. I was going to put questions out to the floor, but I think for the sake of pre-recording and for people wanting to watch this in a 1 hour snaps, we'll keep it to that. So thank you everyone for coming, and for those that were on the panel, really appreciate it. Good luck with campaigning this week. You'll see Michelle and I out next week at sandwich boards trying to help get everyone to vote. vote. Please encourage all of your friends and students alike to vote. This is really important for us and for the students of UTAD. So thanks again for today, and there's some nibbles on your way out. Sam's here for a couple of minutes should anyone have a query or question, as are some of the other TUSA teams. So thanks again, and to those online, thank you Amy and Mary for sticking around, and to all of those others that joined us today. So thanks.
Change, like this whole new thing. She's always telling me that she's like,